Are you ready to create a life you crave? Let's spin that doom loop of negativity into an upward success cycle and start living lucky.
Good morning.
I'm Jana.
I'm Jason.
And we are living lucky.
You are too.
Author Nicholas Sparks once said, "Don't think there are no second chances. Life always offers you a second chance. It's called tomorrow."
Oh, I like it. But I think that second chance is always like even the next moment.
Now.
Yes. It's because the happening happens in the now. It doesn't happen in the past. It doesn't happen later. And so if we tried to do something or if we've been doing something and we want to make that change, in the micro moment or any moment is the time. And that can be the second chance. That can be the do-over. That can be the new start. And it's just having the awareness of saying, all right, I want to make this change.
When it's time to change.
It's time to rearrange.
I guess what we're really talking about today is not having regret. Not tuning into that regret vibration.
Yeah. And are allowing it to continue to grow. Like I think.
And you said something right before we hit record. You said, you know what? Sometimes our soul is wanting us to experience the feeling of regret.
Yeah. Because
that is the motivation to get up and move toward our destiny, our soul's purpose.
Yeah, I feel like even we just talked about procrastination a couple of days ago in the last podcast. And so our soul's going to let us do the things that we need to do or the things we're going to do to go through the spiritual curriculum that we're writing for ourselves.
Correct.
Or that the universe is like we're co-creating.
We are co-creating it.
And even in that procrastination, we will allow that procrastination or we'll go sit on the couch, we'll go lay in the bed, we'll go do something else and keep putting off until that our thermostat moves to the point of being so uncomfortable that you have to make that change.
That is true.
And there are the things that we do on a regular basis that we're comfortable with.
You can avoid getting a job until all of a sudden
you can't eat.
You're hungry.
Yeah.
And then it's that hunger that's actually a gift in your favor. Am I right?
Absolutely. 100%.
And it's how we perceive that hunger. Are we going to look at that hunger and go, oh my gosh, why is the world out to get me? Why is this happening to me?
Lend itself into learned helplessness when someone is always enabling or always giving you things and saying, hey, don't worry, like you keep procrastinating. Do this. Like one of the biggest things for me is I read something the other day. Salary is basically the bait that companies give you to trick you out of or to keep you comfortable enough not to experience your dreams.
It's complacency.
Yeah.
It literally is complacency. It's like, okay, let's keep you comfortable enough to where
you're not hungry to chase that dream.
Tony Robbins calls it the thermostat. And we all have a window. I mean, have you ever been in your house and it's 75 degrees, right? 73 degrees is kind of like
what we like it. That's our comfort
That's
level.
our comfort level, right? Until we go to bed. And then I'm like, I can't sleep with 73 degrees. It has to be 71 degrees.
You got to knock it down 2 degrees and I can feel the difference. So, and there's another part of that is, when the power's out and it's summertime and how uncomfortable it is when the house gets up to like 80 degrees.
Yeah. Then all of a sudden you're like, okay, it's 80 degrees. I'm taking action.
I got to get out of the house. I got to call the air conditioner guy.
When it's 78 degrees, you think, oh, well, maybe the power will come on its own. Right? It's a little
when
uncomfortable
the sun goes down,
here.
It'll start cooling off a little bit more.
Yeah, but once it hits 80, you've hit your threshold. It's your thermostat threshold.
That's so big.
To where you think, I have to take action.
Something has got to change right now because I've got to crawl out of my skin.
And believe it or not, we as humans, we tend to avoid pain or uncomfortableness or
more than we seek pleasure.
more than we seek pleasure.
It seems like, so we can have this veil, or it's almost like a Halloween disguise that feels like I'm chasing pleasure.
Yes.
And a lot of times that chasing of the pleasure, if we peel that back and actually dig deeper underneath it, it's really a move away from pain of something.
Yes.
Than towards that pleasure, because we're trying to hide something. And then we find ourselves, once we get to the goal of that pleasure that we thought we were seeking.
I feel like we need to back up a little bit, because you're speaking on college level, and we need to go back down to 6th grade level. So in human psychology, all of us, every single person, every single soul, every single human being, we have a tendency to avoid pain and seek pleasure.
Yeah.
That is a rule. That is a psychology.
Those are kind of the movers. Yeah.
Those are the movers. So for most people, however, what Jason is saying is the mover really tends to be when the pain threshold gets to be too high.
It's too much. It's too hot.
It's too much. And we tend to do that more so than when we think about pleasure.
Yeah. Like, will I be so actively engaged in chasing the pleasure or building the life of my dreams? Or am I going to wait kind of and be pushed from behind by the pain?
Here's a very, very simple example. I know that when Jason and I have done a marathon, which has been a handful of times in our life,
or triathlon,
we know that when we cross the finish line, we have this dopamine that releases in our brains, and it feels so good, especially after we have trained for 6 months and then we go do this challenge. It makes us feel on top of the world. Okay. So right now we're kind of at average physicality. We're at average physicality.
You speak for yourself.
Okay.
I'm above average. I've gained like 5 or 6 pounds.
Stop. Okay. So right here, right now, I know that if we trained for 6 months and then did a marathon or a triathlon, we're going to feel absolutely fan-freaking-tastic. We're going to have confidence. We're going to like the way we look. We're going to probably even take better care of our wardrobe and what we wear.
It bleeds out into everything. Yeah.
Yes, it bleeds out into every area of your life. However, I can also say, you know what? I really feel like some ice cream right now. And we can go have
donuts.
Ice cream, or we can go have, a hamburger, and we can eat like that for, I don't know,
let's
a
say
couple
6 more weeks. Yeah.
A couple weeks.
Let's push it
and
off.
all of a sudden, our pants start getting tight.
Hey, I resemble that.
And once the pants start getting tight, once we start avoiding the mirror, once we start feeling lethargic.
The pants are getting tight, and you have 2 events coming up in the next month.
Yes. So which is the greater motivator? Is it the fact that I feel like crap and I want to feel at least presentable? Or is it, oh my gosh, if I just started training, I could be in tip-top shape?
And it would bleed out into everything else in my life.
And for some reason, most humans, we sit where we're comfortable until our pants get too tight.
Yeah. And so the example that came to my mind was me working for this company for 18 years and the changing my thermostat and my pain threshold to think, well, this is just how life is. Like bringing it down, saying, okay, this is how it is. These are how things are supposed to be. And thinking my pain tolerance is growing. So I stay in that complacency, in that comfort zone. And it was still avoiding the unknown and the bigger change.
Yeah.
And because when we do the marathons, when I released myself of that, when I said, no, my threshold has been met, and I left, I said, okay, I'm resigning. This is my new purpose in life, and started making that change. I felt like I just run that marathon. It was even bigger and better because I'd gone through this spiritual curriculum of realizing everything that I didn't want, and then also recognizing what I did want, and was able to change into that new process of saying, okay, how do I move towards the things that really fulfill me and light me up in the world?
Okay, so that's another point that I want to bring up, is that it is so much easier for humans to identify what we don't want.
God, right?
It is so much easier. However, to sit down and say, okay, what is it that I want?
If that doesn't relate to you right now, wait until it's time for dinner and someone says, what do you want for dinner? And it's, I don't care.
Yeah, you're like, oh, you know what? I don't really care.
Matter.
All right, well, then we're going to have
Chinese food. I don't want that.
I'm like, oh, I don't really want Chinese food.
Oh, we're going to have McDonald's. I don't want that.
Yeah, no.
Oh, we're going to have Italian. I don't want that. So we know the things that we don't want. We haven't taken the time to identify what we do want.
And once we do identify what we want, for example, just during this podcast, I've realized I want the feeling of training for a marathon.
Awesome.
That's the feeling I want. I'm tired. I mean, I'm looking at my patterns, and I feel like I get in good enough shape so that my pants aren't tight, and then I kind of let it slide until my pants are tight again.
You're elastic. Boogie, woogie, woogie.
No, I'm not.
That's right.
Stop with that.
I love it.
Interesting, right? Where's your pain threshold? And that is why we started this by talking about regret. And sometimes regret is actually a gift. It's a gift because it will help steer you to what it is you really want.
Yeah, it'll make you start knocking on the doors, make you start asking the question is, what is it that I'm looking for so that I can move towards that instead of away from this?
I know what I don't want. What do I want?
Ask that question.
I love it.
And how lucky am I that I get to experience all these things right now?
Thanks for joining us.
Keep living lucky.
Bye-bye. If the idea of living lucky appeals to you, visit us at startlivinglucky.com.